And welcome back to the Best Damn Nerd Show. James Kincaid alongside Professor Chris Davis and Mark Truex. And we're gonna dive into, I guess, our liar of the week here. Not going to be a recurring segment, I hope. But last week was, of course, arch nemesis of the show and everyone on this show, Kevin Smith.
I love Kevin Smith.
No, you don't.
I like him.
Not on this show.
I don't agree with these statements.
No, well, Mark Truex hates that fat fucking liar, Kevin Smith. And now we're going to be talking about, in a similar vein, George R.R. Martin. He's given an interview talking about Game of Thrones, when the latest book might be coming out, how the HBO show ended, and a myriad of things. So I'm gonna read from this article here for you. So bear with me, gents.
So painful.
Here you stutter through it.
He said, looking back, I wish I'd stayed ahead of the books. My biggest issue there was when they began the TV series. I had 4 books already in print, and the 5th came out just as the series was starting in 2011. I had a 5-book head start, and these are gigantic books, as you know. I never thought they would catch up with me, but they did. Okay. So there's...
How many books are there now?
5.
Okay.
Not one. Not one has released since the show came out.
Oh.
Keep that in mind.
They caught up with me and passed me. That made it a little strange because now the show was ahead of me and the show is going in somewhat different directions. I'm still working on the book, but you'll see my ending when that comes out. So George R.R. Martin, expressing this incredulity that the HBO series somehow passed him up, and also saying that his ending will be somewhat different from the HBO show. But it's interesting because the choice that the HBO show made felt like it was one that they maybe made because Martin told them that's how his ended, because it was so out of left field for the HBO show for it to be Bran Stark to become king, that it made, I think a lot of us feel like, okay, well, Martin will get there somehow and it'll probably make more sense in the book. But he's sort of hinting at that maybe it's a bigger difference than the show. What say you, Davis?
I think that is his ending. I think he's talking about how maybe other character arcs end, potentially. Because maybe he didn't give those endings to HBO. But from where the books are going, it definitely seems like Bran could be the king at the end. Like I wouldn't put that past his ending at all. I think that's very plausible. And the fact that he even says like, oh yeah, I can't believe they passed me up. You haven't released one more book since the whole TV series came out. How are you surprised?
He's working.
How?
He's working on video games. He's working on the prequel series.
He's working on everything except this book.
He's doing. He is the master procrastinator, dude.
He put out a freaking Game of Thrones coloring book. He probably drew out the stencils that kids could color in before he started working on his book. It's stupid. He looked for any reason, high and low, to not write. And whatever it was, whatever reason, I'm sure he had. Maybe he had writer's block. Maybe he felt stuck. Maybe he was pissed that we figured out where he was going and he didn't want people to really understand that. I don't know. But just finish your series. It's so angering. And just come out with one more book. I don't know.
So, yeah, he wants there to be 7.
Yeah.
Right?
No, there's supposed to be 7.
He said there's going to be 7. Well, I mean, he's extended it before.
No, I mean, like, from his previous statements, he's like, no, there's 2 more books for sure. They're both long. Probably his 2 longest yet. And, like, he hasn't mapped out, he says.
I don't believe
it's just finishing them. But it's bewildering to me.
Good word. Good use.
That this has taken him so long as a writer if you have your story laid out. And that's why it's so hard to believe that he actually knows where it's going. Because if you have that, then you fill in the pieces in the middle, you get it going, and so where are you stuck?
Mark,
I feel like he had something mapped out, because he always likes to screw over the fan and throw something out of left field. You know what I mean?
I'm clipping that. He always likes to screw over the fan. I agree with you, Mark.
And he likes to throw something out of left field and surprise everyone and shock you and hurt your tummy. You know what I mean?
Just like Kevin Smith, he likes to screw over the fan.
Look, so he mapped out a bunch of
Mark
stuff.
Mark Truex's words, not mine, folks.
And so he mapped out a bunch of stuff, and some of it didn't hit. Some of it didn't hit well, and it's done and it's over, and people are living with that, the audiences. Why wouldn't he go back and have to change that to preserve his own legacy?
Well, I think that's a bullshit move to change something just because maybe some super fans figured it out.
Yeah, well, it's not just that. It's just people actually saw the delivery, and people aren't satisfied with it. Like, all in all,
but if he's a smart man, like because the delivery on the show was bullshit because it was out of left field. He's got pages upon pages to get us there. You know,
he has nothing but leeway at this moment because there. I mean,
just a comment
for the books coming out, because there is so little hype around these books now because of what the show did. Like, because the people think this is where the books are going, and it's not. Like, there's no way that's how the Night King ends. There's absolutely no way, because there's no description.
Dude,
I won my pool. I won my Game of Thrones pool. With Arya
that's
Stark.
great. That's great for you, Mark. It was terrible television.
It was so good.
It was terrible.
Dude, and she got naked and banged out. I got
mucho
points.
Dude.
It
was terrible TV, points. Mark.
I got so many points,
TV.
dude. I wrecked my fantasy league on that.
I don't give a shit about your fantasy league.
It's the only league I've ever played, and I won.
God.
There's just so many loose ends that they just didn't care about, that they just skimmed over, that have so much better potential in a long form book form. And so I understand that he wants to get it right, but like, you got to think he already has their mappings out.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just thinking about Mark being such an asshole about his fucking fantasy league. I'll go with you on this, Davis. When the next book does come out, if it does, it's going to create. I mean, the hype around it is, I think, going to be massive. The clamoring around the people that have deluded themselves into thinking that Game of Thrones could be rebooted at this point in time, or even the ones that reboot season 8 or whatever the fucking last season was. Like it's going to be very, the sort of buzz will be surrounding it again, and he'll feel like the cock of the walk and everything like that. This last quote though was my favorite, and I've saved it here. I will make no predictions on when I will finish. Every time I do, assholes on the internet take that as a promise and then wait eagerly to crucify me when I miss the deadline. All I will say is that I am hopeful.
Well said.
I'm sorry. Assholes on the internet held you to a date that you said it would be out by. I'm sorry. That's called a prediction from yourself or a fucking deadline. Okay? That's what you said. That's what you said you were going to do. And people love your story. I'm sorry that we like something you made. So maybe fucking deliver on it once in a while.
I mean, but it might be the best thing I've ever seen from Martin in print. I will make no predictions on when I will finish. Every time I do, assholes on the internet take that as a promise and then wait eagerly to crucify me when I miss the deadline. I mean, that's a chef's kiss. That's the best thing he's ever said.
I feel like for every tweet or message he gets, like, hey, when's your book coming out? He's like, all right, that's one more day. That's one more day.
Yeah, there is a part of me that feels like he's trolling. And he's, I mean, he's.
Do you think it's done? He's just not releasing it. He just keeps.
I don't think back. I think that
it's like the publisher. It's already
he's made so much
warehouse.
He's made so much money on top of money from this whole thing. And yeah, I don't know, maybe he's probably a weird guy given by some of the things that he's included in that book. So maybe he gets off on it. I don't know. But it's just,
he is a hobbit, so
No, he's
lives a
not
good
nearly
life.
as kind. Not nearly as kind as most hobbits are. But
He's very
every
jolly.
every time I do, assholes on the internet take that as a promise and then wait eagerly to crucify me when I miss the deadline.
The
Yeah,
question,
no shit, man. Like David said, you didn't put out a single book while the show was on, other than that one that was already coming out.
So it's been 10 years.
He's like, yeah, I'm shocked that the show passed me up. How are you shocked? You're the one writing it. You haven't released a book since they started the series. That was like 8 years. What are you doing? What year did Game of Thrones start? Has it been 10 years?
2011.
It's been 10 years.
It's the 10th anniversary right now.
It's
the Iron anniversary to be
pay the Iron price.
God,
I like
we all
it,
are.
Mark.